this looks like. What I'll actually go do is show you file path. I can actually use it outside of the where clause in the select as well. And so what I'll actually do is put in file path, and I need to put the NYC at the front of that as well. And I can run file path with no parameters, or I can put in NYC file path and give it the one that we're referencing below as well. Now, because I'm running an aggregate, of course, I just need to grab these and I need to put them into my group by clause. I'll just put them right in here, and we'll tidy it up a little bit because I like to try to the limit that I can anyway, keep my code kind of tidy. And so where our previous result set showed this, I'm actually going to go run this now. Right? And this will run for a little bit. But what you'll see here is that I can actually grab, what did I miss here? Oh, I typed it slightly wrong here to show you that it's all real. We'll fix that up and run it again. And while this runs, what you're going to see is I'm going to get 2 additional columns back, of course, for file path and file path 1. And you'll see the value for file path without the parameter is effectively the full path to the file. And then the 1 will show you, hopefully, just the value 2009. And so it's important to note here that it's really picking up everything after the equal sign in this asterisk is what's running here. And so that's the 2009 here. Had I moved this, and I won't run this, but just to sort of provide a better example, had I moved this to change it to something like that, where I'm bringing the asterisk in and eliminating equals, all I really need to do then is put equals in here. So there's an element of sort of concatenating the value together to produce the string, but it just gives you an example of what's actually happening under the covers. I won't go do that. I'll put the equals back up here, but it gives you tremendous flexibility. And you could imagine perhaps, other patterns as well, that you've got multiple asterisk wildcards in that single path location. But as I mentioned, now we get the full path name back, which is kind of interesting. So that's where the data is, which we kind of already know. But you could sort of map the wildcards to it. So PU year equals 2009 is right there. We got the month, which is right there. And then we've actually got the parquet name right here. And these are all sort of highly variable, which is why the wildcard is useful. 2009 is exactly what we expect because we told it that NYC file path 1 needs to be greater than or equal to 2009. So that's what we have right here. And then back over here as well was the value that we had before. So we changed the aggregate, of course, because now I'm grouping by the file name. So maybe that's not super useful. Let me back this out a bit to where we were. So I'm going to go back to just the year, and I'll back out my select statement as well. And I'm going to run this again. Because what I'd like to show you is how you can also flip from a tabular result set to look at these things visually as well. One of the things that we built into Synapse Studio is the ability to quickly visualize data within the studio. I'm personally quite guilty of cutting and pasting result sets from things like Management Studio and other tools into Excel to visualize the data. But at the bottom here, you can see we've got this simple toggle from table or chart. And so I'm going to click on this and I'm going to lift it up here. And it defaults to a line chart and actually put both lines. This doesn't really help me too much. But on the right-hand side, I can control this. So my current series, or my category, I should say, is really the current year. That's what I want here. And then my chart, let's just make this a column. And so I can quickly start to actually see the values here. They're very similar, so it doesn't. The columns look very similar. It's given me the legend, the y-axis at a base of 0. But you can mouse over and you can obviously see the actual value, 170.8 million, 169, fraction over 169 million as well. And you can do more complicated charting, of course, if I had more complicated result sets, but just an example of how you can start to look at this. It's not at all a replacement for a more robust BI tool for visualization like Power BI. But as a developer who just wants to get a really quick glance at the data without sort of squinting at the numbers, it's actually a very useful feature. So I'll switch back to the table. That's pretty much everything I wanted to show in this section. This sample here has a set of other examples as well, still using the file path. It provides some